us. Hope you all had a fabulous weekend. My guy, Freddie Coleman, it has been way too long, my friend. So good to see you. Giving you a hug from a distance. Host of Freddie and Fitzsimmons on ESPN Radio. We're going to have some fun. And, of course, the one and only Monday Night Football's Louis Riddick. Gentlemen, guess where we're starting? The multi-million-dollar question. Are you sick of it yet? Will Aaron Rodgers report to Packers camp? But we do have a deadline because it goes down tomorrow. So maybe his IG will give you a clue, or maybe it'll just confuse you even more like it did me. So Rodgers and Davante Adams both posting this pic of Scottie Pippen and MJ from The Last Dance. Now, in the past, Rodgers has referenced the parallels between the toxic relationship between Jordan and his former GM, Jerry Krause, to his situation with his GM. We do know this, however. The reigning NFL MVP went through his normal offseason training regimen with Proactive Sports. While it remains unknown whether he will return to camp there, a representative from Proactive Sports Performance said Rodgers is working and he's ready for football. Freddie, you are up first.
He's ready for football, and I get the whole Last Dance trying to make that work, Molly and Lewis, but I will say this about Aaron Rodgers. Of course he's going to play, and here's why. He's owed $14.7 million if he plays this year, and he's on a 2-year contract after that where he's going to get $25 million per year. He may not like Mark Murphy and Brian Gutekunst, the president and general manager respectively, but he does like his teammates, and he loves the town of Green Bay, and he loves the Packer fans base. He's not going to be there on time tomorrow. I don't have any doubt about that, but Aaron Rodgers understands celebrity. He understands his brand. He knows when he comes in, there's going to be a lot of fanfare. There's going to be a lot of pomp and circumstance, and that's exactly what he wants. It's all about Aaron Rodgers versus the Green Bay Packers, and he believes he's going to win this battle. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. He's going to play one last year. This will be his last dance with the Green Bay Packers. And in the next season, before next season, he's going to force his way out of Green Bay. But he knows they're this close to a Super Bowl championship because they were that close last year and the year before. You're not going to just go away from that and leave your teammates just because things are not working well. The general manager and the president, two guys that he can't stand. So I firmly believe he comes back for 1 year, one last dance with the Green Bay Packers. But then after that, that's going to be it for Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers staying together.
Lou, talk to me.
Yeah, it's next level trolling, Molly. It really is. I mean, Aaron's real good at this, man. He's real good at this. You know, Tom Brady's good at. These guys put a lot of thought into these kind of things. And you would never associate Aaron with someone who isn't very calculated. And I think he is sending a message, although it can be interpreted different ways with that picture with him and Davante, you know, both at the same time putting on Instagram this Last Dance, you know, type of reference. But look, I'm with Freddie in this regard, all right, if we just completely boil it down. I don't think he shows up on time. I don't think there's really any benefit to him showing up on time right out of the gate after everything that's happened this offseason. I just don't see him giving them that kind of satisfaction to say, look, I put you guys through all this offseason. I really made it known through, you know, secondhand sources that I was that disappointed, and then I'm just going to show up on time. I don't care how much he loves his teammates and loves Green Bay and wants to play football. I think he's also a intensely principled person in his own right in terms of he believes what his gripes are very, very, very legitimate and personal to him, and he has a point to prove to this organization. Now, when it gets to the regular season and when it gets to the amount of money that he can lose and when it gets to the fact that, you know, when you're in your mid-30s, late 30s, that every year becomes even more and more critical because you don't know how many more you have left. I think that's something that Aaron, without a doubt, is very aware of, and I'm sure he doesn't want to sit out a year and take it to the nuclear option, so to speak, of retiring and holding out all year long, although I wouldn't put it past him. I think he does play maybe in 2021 for the Packers and force his way out next year. But look, he is going to make this uncomfortable for them because this has become intensely, intensely personal. And I think all of us can relate to that in some form or fashion. That once things get personal, you don't care what conventional wisdom says. When you have a point to prove, you're going to prove it. And this guy's trying to prove it right now.
Absolutely. I'm just trying to figure out what point he's trying to prove with that IG post, because clearly it is calculated, but you really can take it either way. So one last dance,
exactly.
One last year, or it's all over. Now we bring in the newest member of our ESPN family, Sam Acho, former NFL linebacker, VP of the Players Association. So good to have you, sir. Where are you on this? Do you think we're going to see him play in Green Bay this season? He would need to report to camp tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to report to camp, number one, nor will he play in Green Bay this season. Let's just look at the subliminal messages that are being sent, right? This is a social media war. Last week, Stephen A. tweeted out that Aaron Rodgers has been dismissed. He's been disrespected, all these things. And you know who retweeted that tweet? Shailene Woodley. You know who Shailene Woodley is outside of a star of the Divergent and the Allegiant series? She's also Aaron Rodgers' fiance. She's the closest person to Aaron Rodgers. Just a few days ago, there was another tweet on social media after the Milwaukee Bucks won the NBA championship. You know who tweeted out? Aaron Rodgers. What did he say? He named the GM of the Bucks by name and lauded his incredible moves. You know what else happened, like we talked about just now? This IG time story, right? I'm 30-something years old, so I'm in this whole millennial, Twitter, social media. This is a social media war, and Aaron Rodgers understands he has no options monetarily, so he's going to try and put as much pressure as possible on the Green Bay Packers. Will he show up to camp? No, he will not. Will he play for Green Bay this season? The only way he will play, the only way Aaron Rodgers will play for Green Bay this season is if they give him the keys to that roster, if they give him decision-making ability on who's on the team, and also if they give him the ability to call his own plays. Every other superstar quarterback, the Tom Brady's of the world, the Peyton Manning's of the world, the Drew Breeses of the world, all of them got the keys. Y'all know that song, I got the keys, keys, keys. They have the keys. They can decide whatever they want to do. They're calling their own plays. They're deciding who's on the roster. You don't think that Aaron Rodgers is hanging out with Tom Brady and Tom's like, yeah, man, I chose my own players. I choose my own plays. I figured out. Aaron Rodgers does not have that respect. They have not given him the keys. And unless he gets those keys, he will not play in Green Bay this season. Point blank, period.
He's going to play in the NFL because here's the deal. He does have the keys to the kingdom when it comes to Matt LaFleur, because Matt LaFleur gives him carte blanche to change plays, the line of scrimmage, and do whatever he wants. Sam, I hear you from the standpoint of personnel. It's the O-line by Bill Parcells that he wants the groceries if he's going to cook in the kitchen. That's never going to work in Green Bay. They didn't let Brett Favre have the keys to the kingdom. They didn't let Bart Starr have the keys to the kingdom. They're not going to let that happen with Aaron Rodgers. But in terms of him, whatever his gripes are, and Sam, you said it, and Lewis, you said it, whatever it is, we should all have a gripe with our job. We went to the NFC Championship game in back-to-back years. We should all be that dissatisfied with our job being the quarterback of a football team. We're not talking about Aaron Rodgers playing for a 6-10 team that is disintegrated around him. We're talking about a guy that last year, if he made a couple of plays in the second half and didn't throw a couple of interceptions, we were talking about the Green Bay Packers, not in the NFC Championship game, but in the Super Bowl. So whatever gripe he has with Mark Murphy and Brian Gutekunst, the president, general manager, respectively, I understand that. But let's get rid of this misnomer that he does not have power of terms of having the kind of power that a quarterback is looking for when it comes to having his own plays and everything like that. He has that power in Green Bay, but he's never going to get NBA player power. The NFL is never going to allow anybody to have that kind of power. You can have a say. You may believe you have a say, but you're never going to get that kind of stroke that NBA players have. That's what Aaron Rodgers wants. He wants what Kevin Durant has. He wants what LeBron James has. But NFL owners from that old boy network, that old boy Aaron Rodgers is not going to get that kind of power. He's got to take what he can get because he thinks he's going to get it somewhere else. That's not going to be likely no matter when he pushes himself out of Green Bay.
Right, but check this out. So you say that Aaron Rodgers has the keys. You say that Aaron Rodgers has all the control. But if he has all the control of the roster, and if he has all the control of the plays, then what is there to gripe about, number one? So if that's the case, if he has all the control of the plays that he calls, what is he griping about? If he has all the control of the roster, then what is he upset about, right? So
what is he upset about then? What is he upset about?
Point number two, because he doesn't have control. He doesn't have control, right?
But,
Drew Brees.
Sam, he does have a little.
I played against New Orleans, and I played against New Orleans, and I trained with guys who played in New Orleans with Drew Brees. Mm-hmm. So they said no. Drew Brees literally gets 2 plays. He gets 2 plays, and then out of those 2 plays, he gets to pick what he wants to call. It's not that way in Green Bay. Matt LaFleur has a system that he's trying to build, and I would say it's been successful, right?
Exactly.
13-3 the last 2 years. NFC Championship the last 2 years. The roster around Green Bay is not disintegrating by any means. If anything, they're building up that roster. Let's not forget, the week before, we're talking about the NFC Championship game, who had 3 interceptions against Tom Brady? It It was the Green Bay Packers defense, right? Who had an opportunity with 2 minutes and 12 seconds left at the 8-yard line at 3rd and 8 to run into the end zone and go take the lead. It was Aaron Rodgers. And yes, we talk about the field goal that was kicked and the bad decision, but Aaron Rodgers had an opportunity. The Green Bay Packers had an opportunity. The roster's not disintegrating. Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, Kevin King, Zaire Alexander on the defense. Offensively, you got one of the best wide receivers in the game and some beasts at running back. You have the best left tackle. The roster is there. The team is there. The one thing that Aaron Rodgers does not have is control of the roster, like Tom Brady, like Drew Brees, and like Peyton Manning.
Let me get in here 1 second. Lou, I want you to be able to respond to the guys, but I also want to get to this question too. Would you blow the team up at this point? If you're looking ahead and you're... Yeah, would you blow it up, knowing that you're going to lose them after a year?
No, I wouldn't blow it up. No, I would not do that. Look, look from a team building standpoint. Look, I think you got to look at this objectively. All right, look, they have one of the best. They've had one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. They have one of the best running backs. Really, one of the best 1-2 punches at running back. They've had one of the best 1-2 punches, and they will have one of the best, running back rooms in the NFL going forward.